Oh, for God, Don.
What is this man saying? What is this man doing?
What in the hell's the matter with you?
What is this man's name?
My name is Igor Stravinsky.
Hi there, I'm Harry S. Truman.
I'm Don Corleone.
They call him Fletch.
Fletch! Fletch!
Fletch, F. Fletch.
He's good at defending himself,
Better tie your shoelaces.
Oh!
disguising himself, and getting himself into trouble.
Well, it be Fletch. Go ahead. Make my day.
He's a reporter
There are no tags on these mattresses.
who's about to write the story of a lifetime,
Will you kill me?
Sure.
if he lives.
Thanks a lot.
There isn't a woman he can't charm,
Can I borrow your towel for a sec? My car just hit a water buffalo.
a question he won't ask,
You and your wife are currently alive, I take it?
Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
a risk he won't take,
Probably feel 100% Moon River.
to get to the truth.
Well, looks like you two have a lot to talk over. We'll just catch the last 10 minutes of Dynasty.
Universal Pictures presents Chevy Chase as Fletch.
My hero.
Nothing to it.
Welcome to the latest episode of the B Movie Club. I'm your host, Kevin. This will be discussing the 1985 comedy mystery classic, Fletch, starring Chevy Chase, Tim Matheson, Joe Don Baker. It's an all-star cast. George Wendt is in it, for goodness sake. For those who are joining us for the first time each week on the B Movie Club, I discuss certain guilty pleasures and forgotten classics of the past. Go ahead and go to our page on Facebook, Original B Movie Club, and give us the big thumbs up. Also go to our page on YouTube at KD9575 and hit subscribe. It's totally free. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at the B Movie Club. If you do all that, you get all the latest updates. Anytime I find an interesting link that's kind of B movie-ish, I just pass it on to you. Okay? And don't forget to spread the word. The more, the merrier, if you will. Fletch. Irwin M. Fletcher, also known as just Fletch, is an investigative journalist for the LA Times. He works under the byline of Jane Doe, so people don't really know who he is or what he's about. He's currently undercover at the beach to kind of crack this drug smuggling operation. Like, the drugs seem to find their way to the beach, and from there people are able to purchase it or sell it or whatever. So he's trying to get to the bottom. Where's the drugs coming from? He's trying to solve this. So to do that, he's kind of disguised himself as kind of like a junkie, a beach junkie, just hangs out there at the beach all day, making inroads and contacts. One day while he's undercover trying to get to the bottom of this, a wealthy individual named Alan Stanwyck walks up to him, thinking he's a homeless junkie, and offers him $1,000 to come to his house. So he's kind of intrigued. He's like, okay, I'll check this out. Assuming there's no hanky-panky, I'll at least check it out. So he goes there, and Alan Stanwyck tells him a story about how he's dying of bone cancer, and how he's healthy now and he feels fine, but soon this bone cancer will ravage him and he'll die a painful death. He would rather not go out that way, so he's willing to give Fletch, who he thinks is a homeless junkie named Ted Nugent, he'll give him $50,000 if he'll show up in a few days and shoot him and kill him. The reasoning behind this is he'll be dead, so he won't have to deal with like his excruciating cancer. But the insurance policy, life insurance policy that he has on himself will still be able to go to his wife. Whereas if he committed suicide, then the policy would be canceled. Okay? So there you have it. That's basically what's going on here. So Fletch agrees to do, says, okay, sure, I'll kill you. I'll take care of that. So he leaves and starts investigating Alan Stanwyck, because this seems very strange, as you might imagine. In the course of investigating him, he discovers doesn't seem to be sick. He's checked his medical records. There's no evidence of any kind of illness. He researches about his background, how he came from Utah, is like the vice president of Boyd Aviation because he married the boss's daughter. Things seem to be going okay, but he doesn't understand what the story is. He meets Alan's wife, talks to her, meets Alan's parents, talks to them. Now, meanwhile, Fletch still goes to the beach and is trying to uncover the secret to the drugs. What he's discovered about that is that the cops show up every now and again and proceed to beat up one of the homeless junkies named Gummy and take him and arrest him for nothing, seemingly. Fat Sam, played by George Wendt, is there, and he seems to get the drugs. He doesn't know anything about it. You know, the drug appears to him. He's able to disseminate it, but I don't know how it comes. I get it, but who knows what the story is. So, Fletch is dealing with that mystery. He's dealing with this mystery. Eventually, the cops arrest Fletch because they think he's getting too close to something. I don't want to give it all away, ladies and gentlemen. But let me just say that these two seemingly disparate storylines eventually come together a little bit. Hey, Alan Stanwyck is not who he appears to be. There's a mystery, a secret thing going on there. And then the police seem to be involved with the drugs on the beach. And the police, including all the way up to like the chief of police, and Alan Stanwyck seem to have something going together as well. So I don't want to give it all away. Fletch. This movie was based upon a series of books from the 70s written by Gregory MacDonald, the Fletch books. He wrote a bunch of them. And this movie focuses primarily on the first book, Fletch. And they were big hits in the 70s. People were like, oh yeah, check out these books, check out these books. And Hollywood had been trying to get this movie made for a while. Gregory MacDonald, the author, sold the rights to the first Fletch book. But as part of the deal, he retained the right of first refusal into choosing the actor who actually played Fletch. In the 70s, such luminaries as Mick Jagger was thought of. He could play Fletch. Okay? Burt Reynolds, he could play Fletch, but both times Gregory MacDonald was like, no thanks, no can do. Eventually, by the mid-80s, it kind of resurfaced again, and for some reason, the author said, okay, Chevy Chase is fine, even though he'd never seen anything he'd done and didn't know anything about him. I can't explain it. Chevy was in kind of a lull. He'd just gotten off drugs. He was just out of rehab, so the studio was a little concerned about having him headline this movie, essentially. They brought in Michael Ritchie to direct. Michael Ritchie had previously done such things as Bad News Bears, the original, the good one. After this, he'd go on to do like The Golden Child, The Couch Trip, things like that. These kind of movies. So they brought him in, brought in Chevy Chase, and they started making the movie. Now, Gregory MacDonald looked at the script and was very upset because he felt the script kind of diverged wildly from the tone that he was going for in his books. I've read the first book, Fletch. The plots are very, very similar, but this is obviously a Chevy Chase vehicle, so it's going to be more wacky. There's more wackiness. A lot of him doing Chevy Chase things. Well, basically, they would film the scene as it was written, and then they kind of let Chevy Chase do his thing. A lot of the kind of wacky name change things are all just Chevy Chase, just riffing. He did a lot of kind of standard Chevy Chase things where he's like bumping into things or falling down. He did the whole like, whew, gotta go, check in, you know, where there's no watch on his hand. That's a standard Chevy Chase thing. He said, I feel like $100 was actually a line ripped off from Caddyshack that he did a few years earlier. Things like that. Doing the Chevy thing. Chevy remarked after making this movie that this is actually one of his favorite movies that he ever did because it allowed him, in his own words, to kind of be himself. In fact, that was a complaint a lot of the critics had, that there wasn't really a character that he was playing. He was just playing Chevy. So even when the going gets tough in the course of the story where bad guys are chasing him or whatever, he never seems that bothered by it. He always kind of has this reserved kind of arrogance, hey, I'm Chevy Chase, who cares, kind of thing, which is very upsetting. Okay? And obviously, you know, there's a lot of crazy name things. There's a lot of him wearing like costumes and fake teeth and wigs and all sorts of crazy stuff. There's one scene where Chevy Chase is trying to avoid the police, and he barges in on some kind of convention, like a dinner or something. And they were honoring Fred Dorfman, Fred the Dorfman. Now, here's a bit inside baseball, but Fred Dorfman was the older brother of Kent Dorfman, Flounder, from Animal House, starring Tim Matheson, who played Alan Stanwyck in Fletch. Want to be even crazier? The part Tim Matheson played in Animal House, Otter, was originally supposed to go to Chevy Chase. Hey! There you go. You can impress your friends with that little bit of worthless trivia. Good times. George Wendt plays Fat Sam, the crazy old drug dealer at the beach. Joe Don Baker plays the chief of police. Like I said, Tim Matheson plays Alan Stanwyck. Chevy Chase is, of course, Fletch. Okay? Good times. What else can I tell you about this movie? The original soundtrack, or the score I should say, was written by Harold Faltermeyer, who was big in the 80s. He did like all the big scores, including most famously Beverly Hills Cop. That was Harold Faltermeyer. He'd composed one stretch for what was supposed to be a dream sequence in this movie, and his buddy, shockingly enough, Billy Idol, walked in, heard it, and said, "You know what? You shouldn't use this for Fletch. You should use this for that other movie you're working on, Top Gun." So there you go. The score for Top Gun was originally supposed to be in Fletch. Hey, it's a small world, after all. This movie currently has a 75% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I love Fletch. I think it's arguably one of Chevy's best movies. It's not necessarily fall on the floor laugh, but there are scenes that are. There's a couple scenes in there. There's a scene where he visits the doctor playing Mr. Babar. That was a great scene. The dream sequence where he's playing for the Lakers, that was hilarious. But this is like a real movie. I mean, there's like a mystery that he's trying to solve. There's like real performances, and all the other actors are acting the way real people would act. It's not like, you know, Airplane or something where everybody's just kind of acting goofy. It's like, it's a real world with this one character acting kind of like as a wise ass kind of thing. So I love it. If you haven't seen it, rush out and see it. It's become kind of a cult favorite. They went on to make the sequel Fletch Lives a few years later, which was not based on any of the books. It's fine. I haven't seen it recently, but I remember it had a couple funny scenes, but what are you going to do? It's not Fletch. And then there was supposed to be a prequel that was going to come out that was based upon one of the books called Fletch 1, W-O-N, but there's talk that it may still come out sometime, so keep looking for that one. Like I said, Fletch is streaming instantly on Netflix, so rush out and see it if you have not seen it. Check it out. Send me any favorite scenes, favorite quotes, questions, and comments, and I may talk about it on the show. Next week, moving away from the comedy, we're going to hit the fantasy adventure epic, Conan the Barbarian, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, James Earl Jones. It's an all-star cast. It's also streaming instantly, so check that out. Also send me any favorite movie suggestions, anything you want us to talk on the show, and I may help you out. As you know, I end every episode with a totally out of context quote, and here it is. He's 6'5", 6'9" with the afro. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. There's another scene. There's another scene where he goes, using the whole fist, Doc? You ever do time, Doc? Those are great scenes. Anyway, so check that out. Let me know what you think. As I said, next week we're doing Conan the Barbarian. Go to our page on Facebook, Original B Movie Club. Give us the thumbs up. Go to our page on YouTube and hit the subscribe button. And, of course, follow me on Twitter at The B Movie Club. Thank you for joining us, and be well.